Hey everybody, Bryan Fuller here. Welcome to the Forged by Fuller exhibit. Man, can you believe that? Here at the Savoy Automobile Museum. And this is 20 years of my work, if you can believe that. And today, wanted to show you one of our, probably in this whole collection, what I would call is our most beautiful car or motorcycle, and that's the Blue Ray. Now this started as a 1962, I had to go back and think about that, Corvette. Customer brought it to me. It was actually a really nice car, red. He was like, Bryan, I want this thing to be fast. I want it to be blue. And he actually had a sketch, which was kind of cool. First thing we did, we put it on a Morrison chassis, which is really awesome. I do a show called Car Fix. We actually did it on the show, which was fun. It's got a four-wheel disc brakes, 18-inch wheels, which sit really nice. It's got 550 horsepower, which is crazy in this little sucker when you sit in it and go. I mean, this baby just absolutely rips. And I think if you look inside the engine compartment, probably one of my favorite areas that we did. And these are so tight. I mean, there's very little room. All of these little white panels in here are done in aluminum, which is tricky. You got to make sure they all fit, they all clear. And we try to really minimize and clean up the engine compartment where you see only the cool stuff you want to see. You want to see the intake, you want to see the valve covers, you want to see the pipes and such, but you don't want to see a bunch of wires, you don't want to see a bunch of plumbing. But with a modern engine, there's a lot to hide, right? So we tucked it all in there. The other thing that I'm particularly proud of is that we did a lot of body modifications that are subtle, but collectively, I think that's what really, you know, if you look at all these vehicles, and that's what a good customizer or enhancer or, you know, we're almost like automotive tailors. That's what we do. And it's not like this one big change that makes a lot of difference. It's a lot of little bitty changes that make a difference. For example, so we start in the front. You see this trim piece here. Now that is a factory trim piece, but we cut about probably 3/8 of an inch off of it. And not only did we cut it off and make it smaller, but we used filler to make it basically join like a flush fit part. So originally it would have been a lot bigger, it just would have sat on the top. So we make it flush fit, we make it more tailored, we make it smaller. So that's one thing we did. Now another thing we did was this would have been a separate cap, so the headlight covers would have been a separate cap. And luckily my mentor, Foos, was doing a similar car. He already had a mold, so he let me borrow the mold. We lay up fiberglass inside, fit it on here with our more modern lights, and then glass it into the car so it becomes kind of one seamless piece. That, along with 3D printed internal, so if you look inside that grille, the brake ducting, that's all 3D printed, which is an awesome way to do it. A lot easier than trying to make it by hand. And then coming up on top of the fender, this used to be a trim piece. I just thought it would look a lot more smooth if we got rid of the trim piece, but I wanted to keep that detail. I wanted to keep the strength that you get by having that piece on top. So we scanned this, scanned the top, and 3D printed in multiple pieces and bonded this on top of the fender. And I feel like it's a very subtle touch, but it gives it, you know, gives it a really cool look. Second thing we did was we got rid of cowl vent, windshield wipers, and then on the side, I didn't want it to, you know, be too aggressive and too crazy, but I wanted more like shoulders. Like I like to look at a vehicle it looks like it's got some strength. So I made those out of aluminum. We water jet them first, shaped them, fitted them. Once I liked it, then you put a mold release on the back, and again, go ahead and lay up in fiberglass because you want to use a fiberglass part. You don't want to bond aluminum to fiberglass. It eventually will crack out. So by using glass on glass, you're going to have a lot better chance of it living. Moving back, we use the next generation latches. So these are from like the 70s. The original handle would have been out here. That kind of cleans up the body side, but you still have a traditional handle. And then looking in the interior, man, I love this white. So we 3D printed, routed. Kato did the upholstery on this one. 3D printed and routed the door panels, obviously custom seats, custom steering wheel. And again, just trying to keep that classic look, but a lot more comfortable. So we pushed the seat back, you got some more room. We rounded out the gas filler. And then probably one of the more unusual tricks was in the back. And this was on the sketch that the customer brought me. It's got 3 taillights instead of, well, it's got 3 taillights on each side. It's got 6 taillights, more like the Impala, instead of 4, like the Vette would have originally had. First time I looked at it, I was like, I don't know, like, but it's grown on me, and I actually really like the touch now, and it's kind of unusual, and just a beautiful, beautiful car to drive. Absolute pleasure to enjoy. AC, 550 horse, 4-wheel discs in a beautiful, beautiful package. Anyway, that's the Blu-ray. Very proud of that one. Big thanks to Lincoln Electric and ARP Fasteners for sponsoring for all these 20 years and all these vehicles. We'll see you next time.